And I too.
Hello and welcome to this channel's first YouTube video. Thanks for tuning in and checking it out. Today we'll be going over JavaScript functions, how to build them, how to use them, and a little bit of higher concept stuff at the end. So we'll get rolling. Functions are an essential part of JavaScript. If you want to be an engineer, then you have to learn functions. It's basically the workhorse of the JavaScript language. Basically, functions are repeatable sections of code. That's a pretty good way to frame it right off the bat. You have something you want to do, some function that you want to perform in your program, but you don't want to type it out over and over again. Even if it's something as simple as logging to the console, 10. You can log 10 to the console. Well, to repeat this, you could just copy and paste it, but why would you want to do that as many times as you need to? The correct way to do it is to write a function which will encapsulate the code that you want to repeat and allow you to just refer to the name that you assign the function, and you'll be able to repeat it as much as you want. For example, we're going to take a function. This keyword basically tells the JavaScript engine, which is to say the thing that's running your JavaScript code and interpreting it. It tells the JavaScript engine that the rest of the code following this is going to be a function and to regard it as such. So we're going to call this function add1. Now, the name can be absolutely anything you want. It can be dorp, but it shouldn't be, because nobody knows what a dorp is. So we're going to call it add1. Now we have a set of parentheses, which is going to contain what are called parameters. Parameters are ways an engineer can interact with the functions that they build. So in this case, we're going to put in a number. So add1 is a function that is going to take in a number, just one, and then this set of curly braces here, which we'll space out for readability, these make up the function body. So anything contained within these this function body is going to essentially be what the function is doing. Whatever it is, the code that you want to repeat is going inside here. In this case, we're going to declare a variable called sum and let it equal number plus 1. So what this line of code is doing right here is declaring a variable called sum. More on that in a different video. I'll go over variable declaration and the different ways you can do that. But we're basically saying this word here is equal to number, which is whatever number we pass in, plus 1. Then we're writing a return statement. This keyword here is essential to functions. 99% of all functions you will write in JavaScript will have a return statement. Basically what it does is it says to cease all operations, whatever the function's doing. If it hits a return statement, it will cease functioning and return whatever it says to return. In this case, we're going to write sum. And then you close it off with a curly brace. So to recap, we've declared a function called add1, taking in one number, and because we're good engineers, we've accurately described what the function is and what it needs to operate properly. Again, you could make these two words anything, as long as, if you want to reference what's in these, you have to change this also. So if I wrote dorp in here, you would write dorp plus 1, and it would give you the same thing, but we call it number, and then we return the sum, which is to say number plus 1. We have successfully declared a function. Now we're going to make it work. To do that, all we need to do is reference the name, so add1, parentheses, and then a number. So we'll say 5. We've got the reference to the name, the parentheses, which actually do the invoking. If this did not have any parameters, you would still need the parentheses to invoke it. This line 10 tells the program when it's running to execute the code within the function body. So we have add 1 with 5. Now, a quick aside, I have here, the whole screen is what's called a developer environment. Now, because I'm not running in the browser, I can run JavaScript in a Node environment. That probably doesn't mean anything. Maybe it does, and that's cool. But if it doesn't, that's fine. I'll cover that in a later video. Just know that I am using my computer to run JavaScript using Node. And I'm doing that down here in the console. Node function.js, which is the file name, and this runs the code. Now, interestingly, we don't see anything down here in the terminal, which is where basically the sum here should show up. Well, it doesn't because this is not being logged to the console. This is simply being returned, and return values do not go directly to the console. It is returning the sum. It is working properly. But if we wrap it in a console.log statement, there we go, and run it now, you'll see that it gives us 6 down here in the console. We can add a 0 to this and it should give us 51. You can do this as many times as you want. In fact, we'll copy this whole line and do 2 more. And this one will say 85, and this one's just 5. And it'll give us 3 distinct values, 51, 86, and 6, which is all of these summed up plus 1. So that is essentially how you build and invoke a function in JavaScript. Now, obviously, these functions can get much more complex with what you want it to do. You know, usually you're not just adding numbers. There are many practical applications for using functions. But we can get into that in a different video. Right now, what's important is you know the function keyword, using good naming conventions to name your functions, and the parameters, and then how to invoke them, as well as what a return statement is and what you can put in the function body. So if you made it this far, congratulations. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll catch you next time.